everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Concord and Ninth. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to the On My Mind stamp set, stencil pack, and coordinating dies. These products are a part of a special release from Concord and Ninth for the Scrapbook and Cards Today Crop and Create event. And here is a look at this fabulous bundle. Now, there are 3 products included in the bundle, but keep in mind that each of these products is also available individually. But I think you're going to find that these products work so well together to give you a variety of different styles of cards. Now, the On My Mind die set includes 2 of these one-piece dies. Now, each of these dies creates 9 different shapes, either pots or greenery. There's also a fabulous scripty friend sentiment and this banner shape, which coordinates with the stamp set. Now let's look at the On My Mind stamp set. You can see you have a few of those banner sentiments there that say, I totally believe in you, you're on my mind and here for you always. And then you also have a couple of smaller sentiments and some decorative elements for the pots. And I love when Concord and Ninth throws a little heart in there for me because I cannot resist those. Now let's have a look at the stencil set. This layering stencil set includes 3 stencils, and you can actually use these in a variety of different ways. And I'm going to show you these in action here in just a moment. But it starts with kind of this arched silhouette. It reminds me of a super modern like bookcase in a really cool home. I'm going to show you that here. Then you have the stencil for all of the different pots and the stencil for all of the different greenery. Now keep in mind, these pots and the greenery in the pots for the stencils match up with the die set. So you can use these together or separately. Now here's a look at all of the dies die cuts from some various colors of cardstock. You can see the 9 different pots that you cut out here. I've die cut them out of all different colors, but keep in mind, this is a one-piece die. So every time you run the die through, you're gonna get all 9 of these pots. One of the things that I love the most about these pots is that there is a little stitched detail on them. Each of them kind of have their own unique design, but this gives them a little bit of texture and a little bit of flair, and I think it's so much fun. Now, in addition to the pots, you'll also get the 9 different styles of greenery. And keep in mind, these also all die cut with one pass of the machine. And you can use them as they're intended. You can kind of look at the stencil and see which pot has which greenery in it, or you can layer up several different of the greenery pieces in one pot to create a custom look. So you're going to get all of those with one pass of the die cut machine, which I absolutely love because you can crank out a bunch of cards. Now here's a look at that beautiful friend die cut as well as the stamp sentiment die cut with that coordinating banner die. There are a lot of ways you can mix and match these die cuts, and these are perfect for a variety of different occasions. Now let's look at the stencil set. I am going to show you the stencils in action, and I'm going to be using my all-in-one turnabout jig to kind of hold my cardstock in place in that A2 section of the all-in-one turnabout grid. I have a piece of colored cardstock behind this so that you can see where my paper is landing, but basically I've just lined it up in that A2 space. And now I'm lining up stencil number 1 with the crop marks that are etched on each of these stencils. Once I have that held securely in place, I'm going to start my ink blending, and I'm using Tide Pool ink for this. Now you can go with a really dramatic look, or you can go with a soft look, or you could even go with an ombre look for this. I just chose something basic for our demonstration today, but I did create a card with this backdrop in the rainforest ink, and it looks absolutely stunning. I'll be sure to show you that card in just a minute, but for now I am completing my ink blending for stencil number 1, and I'm removing that stencil. You can see I have that really cool silhouette. Now I can actually use that silhouette as is, or I can go ahead and continue lining up the stencils onto my paper using the little crop marks that are etched into the stencil. And once I have that securely in place, I'm going to go ahead and continue with my ink blending. Now I decided to use 3 different colors of ink for the pots on this particular stencil, but you could absolutely ink blend these all in one color. I'm using sunflower ink, grapefruit ink, and juniper ink to give me a variety. And I'm doing a little bit of a heavier hand towards the bottom of each of these pots or jars, and then kind of lightening up as I go towards the top. Now I'm going to keep that stencil in place. I did wipe it down between the colors just so I'm not cross-contaminating my colors. And now I'm using the juniper ink to ink my next set of pots. I'm just inking one per row in the various different colors just to give it a little variety. And keep in mind when you're using something like a stencil, it's a perfect opportunity to bring in something like your favorite glitter gel or shine paste or whatever it may be. You could actually even use some embossing ink and some clear embossing powder over some of these images to give them a little bit of shine. I think that would be fun. You can also use stencils with your die cutting machine and create an embossed look in the open areas of the stencil, and that's something fun you can try with these stencils as well. So I'm still working on stencil number 2 here, inking up each of those pots. I'm finishing off with the grapefruit ink, and as I mentioned before, I'm just doing a heavier concentration of ink towards the bottom of the pots and then fading out as I go up. Now I'm removing stencil number 2, and you can see I have all of those beautiful pots, and I'm going to place stencil number 3 over my paper, lining it up with the crop marks that are in the corners of the stencil, and I'm going to start adding some color to the greenery. Now I'm using a couple of different colors of green here. I'm using artichoke as well as grasshopper, and I'm just doing a little blending to kind of add some interest to this. I absolutely love the way these two colors look together. I'm starting off with the grasshopper and kind of adding the ink all over the place. Now, once I finish off with the grasshopper, I'm gonna go ahead and dive into the artichoke ink and add just a little intensity towards the bottom of each of these. I don't know, I guess they would be plants. I don't really have a green thumb, so I don't know. I was gonna call them greenery sections, and I guess they are greenery as well. But just adding a little intensity towards the bottom, giving them a little interest. And as I mentioned with the pots, you could absolutely just blend a solid color over this entire stencil and it would look beautiful as well. I'm just kind of showing you all of the different options that you can do with these stencils. Now here is a look at that piece once it's all stenciled, and to remove it off of the all-in-one turnabout jig, I'm going to go ahead and fold the jig away from the paper so that my paper stays nice and flat. Now, as I mentioned before, you can use these stencils together or on their own, so I wanted to show you the variety of different looks you could get with these stencils. So we've seen what it looks like with all 3 stencils, but let's look at just the silhouette of the arch. That's a fun kind of graphic look. Or you can just stencil the pots and the greenery and get kind of this grid design on your card. Another fun way to use these stencils, I think you're going to have fun playing with these and mixing and matching all of these with the coordinating die cuts as well. Now let's have a look at a few cards that I created with the On My Mind bundle, stamp stencils and dies. The first one features the stencil set really heavily. I've created this stenciled background. I did a nice light background for the arch, but I brought in a variety of different greens for all of the different plants in each of these pots. And then I just added that stamped sentiment along with a die cut sentiment, kind of mixed those together and finished that off with a few of the gold enamel dots from Concord and 9th. And this card is really just perfect for a variety of different occasions. You can see I added a little heart on the end of my sentiment strip as well. Now the second card features a lot of die cutting, and I have added kind of this floating wood shelf design to my card. I've die cut the pots out of several different colors of cardstock and added the greenery. I also added some white gel pen detail to the greenery and the pots. I thought that was a fun way to kind of bring those to life. And of course I have that little hello stamped greeting and the die cut friend word again. I thought this was a really fun kind of modern looking card, kind of reminds me of one of those really cool floating wood shelves in a modern home. And I think it was a fun way to use these dies. Now, the third card features the stencils and the dies together. You can see I die cut my pots out of white cardstock and added the gold details to each of those. And of course, I have that dramatic background there that I created with the rainforest ink and that stencil from the stencil set. And I finished this off with a little embossed greeting that says love you. That is also from the On My Mind stamp set. That's heat embossed in gold onto some vellum. And then I added just a little die cut heart to finish this off. So there you have it, the brand new On My Mind bundle from Concord and Ninth. I had so much fun playing with this set. It was so much fun to mix and match the stamps and stencils and dies in a lot of different ways. And I have so many other ideas that I just didn't have time for. Like, I want to add a little bit of shine to these pots. Thanks for joining me for this look at the new On My Mind bundle. I can't wait to see what you create. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.